I know sometimes I come across like I'm trying to make a declarative statement a lot of times, but really I'm just proposing ideas and thinking out loud. Um, with a lot, with especially this kind of stuff on any of these cultural type of topics. When with the real estate stuff, can be more definitive because I've been in the business over 15 years. You know, Tim Black, like a lot of Africans, if Kirk was a black man killed, I don't think they would have. Ah, man, that's been a big debate, and if you talk to people directly, they would disagree. But I do think some of that stuff again against Austin, um, and you see it here in the U.S. Like it's easier to be negative against people that look like you. You know, I don't. I'd hate. I kind of agree in some sense, but you know, it is unfortunate. But here's the thing: you can't be over. This is my point about not bringing this mindset to Africa. Is you have to respect their point of view because we look down and are very judgmental against people that have this mindset, and me too. I do as well. But if we're gonna come together and understand each other, you got to be a little open minded. I'm not saying that you're not. I'm just saying in general that they have a different point of view about these topics. Because goodness gracious, oh, I don't even want to start it. I was going to say maybe we'll get into it a little bit later as we warm up. Jesse Whitehorn, one of the longest members. Appreciate the support. He's about to get that 6-month gold badge. That's going to be cool. I looked it up the other day. I said, dang, I really appreciate you guys. Jesse's the one who had me do the Verona video. Oh, Jesse, I don't know. I saw you ask the question and then we didn't get to it. The Verona video, the developer started being kind of weird, even though it was a glowingly positive video because I loved everything that they were doing. But they were like, well, we looked at it and we weren't sure. And I really hate when they do that. And they really never got back to me, but they were giving me energy like they didn't want the video out there. And so I pulled it, because this is what I'm talking about. There's like cultural things like video is like being public and outward about stuff, even with a business, which seems crazy to me, is kind of a thing over there. And I'm going there, so you got to respect the culture a little bit, although I don't get it. Especially that particular video and our honest opinion about Verona was super positive. But now I'm like, because I've dealt with some of the other developers like this. That's why you don't see every development, because some of them act weird. I've gone to Riru a couple times, and we did a whole tour, and a whole bunch of the developers are like, "Nah, don't video this." And when we still did the tour, I just didn't do the video, and I was like, "Oh, I see why, because y'all are way overpriced, and this joint is not nice." So it's like, if they're not proud of their product, what's up with that? It's free marketing. You guys know how many people have bought from these videos because they come back and tell me, "Yo, we had it like that." Now I have developers trying to do deals with me because they're like, "Yo, we've bought you like so many people have come, they've seen the video, like it's a thing." Like when I show up, they know who I am at this point, and I'm not trying to flex. I'm just saying. And that goes to again this mindset and everything. This all goes back to this cultural thing. Trying to do deals, the way people negotiate is different. There's a lot going on. I got a lot going on behind the scenes. I got some serious deals and some partners. I'm looking at either partnering or founding something. There's negotiations going on. I got a couple companies I'm negotiating with. So there's going to be some big announcements. Can't talk about it yet. But again, like that's why I want to talk about some of the culture because it's relevant. For example, in Kenya, no one will tell you no. They're never going to just say no or I don't like that. They're going to give you like a very, oh, well, not exactly. Or, I'll look into it. Well, I'll look into it sometimes means no. And so you need to understand that when you're talking to people, because then you'd be sitting around waiting for them to get back to you because they said, we'll get back to you. They're never getting back to you. They told you no, you just didn't understand the social cue because it's rude, like that. And as Americans, we don't do business like that. Now, there's pluses and minuses to different cultures, right? Like if you're waiting on somebody and they never get back to you, now you're wasting time because they never told you no. So navigating these things is definitely a thing. All right, Jesse Whitehorn, good afternoon. On the investment numbers, I see these realtor videos and always tell people don't pay attention to those numbers. I see it as a marketing tool to get people outside Kenya to buy. Yeah. You know what? I think it's a red flag when I see prices in US dollars advertised in Kenya. Don't like to see that. I think they're trying to that means something. And then, yeah, if you see 18% ROI, don't believe it. I see some billboards out there that claim ROI. I feel like that's very irresponsible. You cannot predict the ROI on a real estate deal in Nairobi right now. There's thousands of new units coming online within the next 2 to 3 years, like thousands of new units just in the city. You got the UN movement. Like, there's no way to predict these rental numbers. Do not believe them. And guys, like, if you're watching my video, this is what I start getting concerned with when people are watching videos, because I'm polite. I'm not going to argue with the agent about the sales numbers when they're telling me, like, these are real interactions in real time. This is like, very rarely are they scheduled or set up like that. So if they say, oh, this number, just take it with a grain of salt. There are a myriad of opportunities for investments for Black Americans. They just need to look around, especially in the outskirts of major cities. See, that's where you need to start learning the language, because not everyone speaks English the same level. I've definitely encountered that, especially outside the major cities. And here's another thing. Everyone is going to tell you they're an expert or can help you, and you need to be able to see through that. So I always urge people to be very cautious and stick with what you know. Like, you got to stay within your skill set. That's why I'm in real estate in Kenya, and I'm branching off from the real estate. But you got to be really careful. If you haven't done business, trying to do international business is even harder. So be careful. And again, I'm working on partnerships, but again, that's why I want to talk about the culture, because understanding how people understand things and how they negotiate and their point of view and what words mean. First of all, American English and British English are different, and Kenyan English is based more on British English. And some words mean different things, especially in real estate. When they're talking about building materials, we use different words. Same thing for foods. A lot of fruits and vegetables are called different things. I just realized sisal is agave, which grows in Kenya, which is blue agave is how they make tequila. Now, to call something tequila, it actually has to be blue agave made in Mexico. There's actually a company I found in Kenya. I was like, I wonder if they make their own version of tequila. You can't call it tequila. That's made from the same plant in Kenya. And there's actually a company, I think it's called Roho, Roho. I think it's super interesting. So that's how, I don't know. I look at stuff like, I don't know. I would love to go see their distillery, see what they do. Are there investment opportunities, marketing? I don't know. There's all kinds of cool stuff like that. So you're definitely right. There's so many opportunities. But again, that didn't even click until because someone told me it's sisal, and they were like, oh, you make like textiles with it. And I didn't even realize. I was like, that's agave. You see what I'm saying? So even that cultural difference and the word difference, after I looked it up, I realized I was like, oh shoot. And now I found a business that makes tequila out of it, you know? In tech and agriculture, the opportunities can never be exhausted. Yeah, I think the agriculture is big. I'm really interested in it.